Welcome, weary traveler. I see that your quest for an art style has left you worn, because most adventurers believe that the path to artistic success lies in finding the legendary art style. But the truth is, without discovering your artistic voice first, you're very likely to end up in the wrong place. We're going to dive deep into how to uncover your artistic voice, because that is the foundation from which your art style can naturally develop. I am here to make your journey as swift as possible, for there are many monsters to be felled, and this world needs the light within you. I have, by the way, also prepared a sacred scroll, aka a free PDF workbook. You can find that in the description. So, are you ready to enter the forest of self-discovery? You're right. We should probably keep our hands available for holding weapons and stuff, because questing. Yep. So we all naturally have art style. It's like handwriting or an accent. It arises based on our own physical traits and attributes, the people around us, our art influences, etc., etc. But also like handwriting or an accent, art style can be faked. Now, in some cases, being able to put on a style is a great asset. Like if you work in the animation industry or pretty much any commercial industry. But if you're here looking for how to develop your own art style, you're probably looking for something uniquely you. And if that's the whole point, then emulating others is very unlikely to leave you feeling fulfilled. Your artistic voice is the emotional and philosophical foundation of your creative work. Unlike an art style, which can be copied, which is really just a bunch of aesthetic choices, your artistic voice goes deeper than that. It's the product of all the factors that make up you as an individual, and therefore it is completely unique. Try to build a style first without understanding why you create, what you want to say, and who you are as an artist. And you risk building a beautiful, complex facade, a scaffolding that eventually crumbles because it's not supported by anything. So by all means, develop your art style. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have fun with your art and explore your taste as you're growing as an artist, but don't make that your starting point. It takes great fortitude to stare yourself down, naked and raw, and acknowledge the truth of who you are. Many of us go through life with no real idea who we are at all. Sure, we've taken all the personality tests, INFJ, and you know whether you're a soldier, poet, or king, but beyond the boxes society has created for you, you might not have the clearest picture of who you actually are. Beneath all the layers of self-preservation, of imitation, of doing that tragically oh so human thing of just trying to fit in, you're going to have to strip all those layers away and find what lies underneath. So to do this, you're going to put down your phone, go somewhere quiet, and sit alone with your thoughts in private. In this moment, don't look to anyone else to define you. Just ask yourself questions, leaving nothing in shadow. Maybe go out in nature. Definitely find a place that feels safe and comfortable, and just spend some time reflecting gently on everything you know about yourself. Try to see yourself fully, not as others see you, but as you really are. This can be a process of days, weeks, months. You don't need to rush it. And the answers that you find, they might shift and change over time. We are constantly evolving, and we contain multitudes. But there are 3 questions that I want you to think about and answer. First, what do I actually care about on the deepest level? Not what's trendy, not what will make a stir on social media, not what's marketable, not what will make my friends happy. When no one else is around, what breaks your heart? What heals it, and why? The next question I want you to ask yourself is, if absolutely no one were watching and there was absolutely no chance of failing, what would you be doing with your life? Who would you be? What actions would you take? How would you dress? Where would you go? What would you say? Who would you fight for? And our last question, ask, what makes me different? What parts of you are weird, odd, unusual? What are the parts that have made you feel like you didn't quite belong? The parts that you were told were too much, too strange, maybe a little embarrassing. The parts of yourself that you've tried, perhaps, to hide. You see, we artists are not meant to fit in, to reiterate what everyone around us is already saying. The world doesn't need more echoes. To choose to cut away your jagged edges is to demolish the most wondrous and beautiful pieces of yourself. The pieces that will ultimately lead to the very thing that we're searching for today on our quest. So, the answers to all these questions will help you figure out what your unique story looks like. The story of who you are, who you have been, and who you want to become. Now, to better understand and flesh out that story, you may find it useful to complete some or all of the following creative exercises. Gather a hoard, it can be physical or digital, of bits and bobs that you feel a strong sense of connection to. Anything that evokes a strong feeling of resonance within you. Objects, art pieces, quotations, poetry. Be free and expressive and ruthless. Don't include something just because you think it's pretty or because it seems successful or well-liked. Only include things that say something meaningful about your soul. Write a letter to yourself from the perspective of your past self from 10 years ago. Then write one from the perspective of your future self 10 years from now. How does your past self feel about who you are right now? What hopes did they have for their future? And what is your imagined future self up to? What overall story do these two letters tell? Flip through your old notebooks or other past work and notice what patterns emerge. Consider also what you may have wanted to draw or create, but didn't allow yourself to. Perhaps because you were intimidated, afraid of failure, or thought you would be judged for creating them. List out the themes, images, or motifs that show up again and again in your work. Next, start to examine them. Don't just find the imagery, but search for the deeper roots. You might want to ask yourself if you can remember the first time you drew each of those elements and why. Explore their overall significance in your life. Now, after completing some of these self-discovery exercises and spending some time in reflection, as you're growing a little bit more confident in understanding your story, don't just go on with your life as it was before. Your quest is only beginning. Act 2, living out your story. Your art flows from your life. Your task in this phase is from now on to live richly, weirdly, and vulnerably enough that art becomes inevitable. This part of the quest is your training montage. In Act 1, you discovered your grand destiny. But in this act, you are going to start doing the hard work of actually pursuing it. Start getting comfortable with expressing that voice, not just in your art, but in your daily life, in this realm as well. And you, fair hero, will be unstoppable. So sit down, take what you've discovered about yourself in the previous phase, and look at your life critically and analytically. Where does it align with your values and with the story that you want to tell? And where does it lack? What monsters are keeping you from your quest? We face enemies like social pressure, creative resistance, insecurity, and self-doubt. Stuart, the shame dragon. Doug, the doom scroll troll. Busyness, habit, all kinds of reasons to resist the call to adventure and stay safe. What weapons or allies might help you to fight back against them? What makes you feel fake? Conversely, what makes you feel alive? Identify habits, aesthetics, or behaviors that you've picked up to please others or to blend in. Ask yourself, who am I trying to impress? And is it worth abandoning my story for? Are there things that you need to let go of in order to live more fully? Like external standards of success that don't align with your values? The approval of parents or people you look up to? Social expectations like getting a real job and climbing the corporate ladder? Here are a few exercises to help you bring all this sort of conceptual self-discovery stuff into this mortal realm. Imagine your life as an epic tale.
Write out your imagined story in fictional form, imagining yourself as a character that excites you, pursuing a worthy goal, facing conflict, and overcoming obstacles to have a meaningful impact on the world.
Now ask yourself, how close am I to living like that now? Where does work need to be done? Choose your own side quest. Pick something you've been afraid to do because it might make you feel ridiculous or too much or vulnerable. It can be as big or as small as you need. Some examples could be dressing up like the character that you want to embody in your story, literally skipping down the street, sketching out in public, in a park or a cafe, performing your poetry or music in public, even if you don't think you're all that great. Choose one true thing about yourself that you tend to keep under wraps. Something that's not harmful or negative to others in any way, but something that you worry is cringy or silly or embarrassing. Like for me, my favorite TV show is Hilda, an animated cartoon for children. And if most people on the street ask me what my favorite show is, I wouldn't admit that because it makes me feel childish. But what if instead of hiding that thing about yourself, you wore it proudly for a day? Like I could literally wear a Hilda t-shirt out in public. Or maybe it's not literally wearing something, like if maybe the thing that you're embarrassed about is being really sappy, you could bring like a vase full of flowers to your desk at work one day. These exercises are meant to help you start embody the story that you want to live in your daily life. Our art flows from our life, so the more you take ownership of the person you want to become, the more you shape your life so that your external surroundings support your internal longings, the more your art style will emerge naturally out of that. And in every circumstance, how you live out your story might look differently. Maybe your dream story simply isn't achievable or possible. Maybe you'd love to travel and go on adventures, but you're taking care of a newborn baby or an aging parent. Maybe right now you're just doing what you can to get by. But the good thing is, it's not about that external stuff. That's just one way to practice expressing and making tangible the story you want to live, but it's really about your interiority. Having fun experiences can be a great tool to inspire you, but it doesn't actually do the work of daily, hourly, minute by minute, choosing to be your fullest, most creative, most powerful self. It's about how you carry yourself through this life and the person you're becoming. So as your story is beginning to take shape, it's time to take the leap from life into art. No, you don't have to actually leap across the chasm. There was a bridge over here. That was just a metaphor. Sorry. Act 3, finding your artistic voice in your story. This act is actually, believe it or not, the easiest part, because by now, like in any good story, you've already smashed through most of the obstacles between you and your goal. You've discovered your story and begun learning how to live it out. Now it's time to face the final boss, actually making art. So you now have a lot of information about your artistic voice from what you've learned about yourself. You have a lot of practice starting to embody your voice through living out your story. And by now you probably have millions of ideas about how to apply this to your art. But I'll give you a little structure, a few prompts and exercises to help you out on your way. The first question to ask yourself is, what is the emotional goal of your art? What do you want people to feel or realize after experiencing it? This might not be the same with every piece, but you might find that there are some through lines in your work. And this question will help clarify and shape everything from your color palette to your compositional choices. Ask, in the story of my life, what are the recurring themes and symbols? Can you start weaving those motifs, like a key or a doorway or birds or mirrors, stars, whatever it is, into the visual language of your art? If you could magically have any impact on the world with your art, what would you choose? For instance, everyone who sees your art is now kinder to strangers, or everyone who sees your art starts paying more attention to nature. Ask, what is the purpose driving you to create? Let's go through some creative exercises to help you define your artistic voice. If there is only one exercise you actually do on your quest, make it this one. Write out an artist statement for yourself and put it up in your art studio, at your desk, keep it on your phone, something so it's always nearby to remind you of your mission. Here's a formula to help you. I create X type of art that now describe a central quality. My mission is to have X impact on Y audience. I want my art to accomplish X. So if I were to fill this in, I would say I create acrylic fantasy paintings that are like little portals to imaginary worlds. My mission is to bring wonder, whimsy, and connection to those struggling in this modern world that's drowning in gray. I want my art to help people grasp the magic and beauty still living in our world. Fill a massive blank sheet of paper with a mind map of ideas for dream projects that only you could make. What voids can only you fill? Don't worry about the quality of your ideas, just quantity. Then go back later and make note of what projects and concepts stand out the most to you. Keep a sketchbook specifically for voice explorations. Not every piece of art you make needs to be perfectly aligned with your voice or mission. Like, sometimes you're just doing studies. Sometimes you're exploring and playing with someone else's style. But this sketchbook, let it be a haven, a focused space for working out your voice. Along the way, you may find that an art style starts to emerge as well. So, traveler, you've made it to the end of your quest, or at least now you know what it will take to get there. As you develop in your voice, you will naturally start to develop in your art style as well, as long as you continue practicing and making art. Thank you so much for watching this video and coming along with me on this quest. It's been very fun journeying with you. And let's chat in the comments about which of these exercises you're most excited to try out. And if you have any suggestions for voice developing exercises, you can leave those as well for other people to benefit from. So thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have a gloriously creative rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.